CIS team that just honestly throw out some very wacky results. But prior to that, they were on a map win streak of 5, and they had beat the Flames that I just mentioned there. They beat Copenhagen Flames, they beat Double Ponies. So a couple of anomalies for me on that particular front. And whilst again their status might not be as confident as it once was, I feel like in this particular contest, if they can take Overpass, it's going to be 2-0.
Well, it does come down to the start. We know that for Wisla, they had a pretty decent result on Overpass against those Hungarians, 16-4 with an explosive T side and maybe an explosive take into the B side. This is very retake heavy from Fiend on B.
Block set up for Wisla, going straight in towards that B plant. And you're right about the retake setup. Dreamer's going to try to take face in. I've seen a couple of T-side players. One dropping down, one getting on the boost spot here. PHR and Goofy get those 2 frags. PHR can double up to make it 3 for 1. Nothing on the trades with Wisla. Easy control of this pistol round.
A great start coming through from Wisla, just the explosion out to B. First of all, it's a retake setup from Fiend, and just the players just not really hitting their shots. Dreamer getting overwhelmed, PHR and Goofy working together, and Red Star and Han go, well, there's no real point throwing ourselves at this 2v5. We'll force buy in the next round anyway. Let's keep the Kevlar, let them just have a complete and easy pistol round, and Wisla, a very good start from them.
Opening way in for the T-side line. Fiend getting caught a little bit too far off guard with that, and while the retake setup was definitely on, had they formed up for the cohesive 5-man unit, maybe that might have been the better player rather than just sending straight forward for it. Pistol gain there for the Wisla side. A great opening start. And again, confidence shown against Fiend. That's what we want to see.
And what we are getting the idea of in this kind of matchup is that I would still pin Wisla heavy favorites to still make top 4, even if they don't beat Fiend, right? Because in this sort of matchup, we're both sort of leaning towards the Bulgarian side. With the likes of sort of Sinners and Fiend, Wisla are kind of like that third team in that conversation of who we think is going to be top 4.
Set with the Deagles across the board for Fiend. The CZ's brought down a scout out as well for Red Star. Rifles in with 3 individuals of Wisla, 4 individuals of Wisla actually. 3 AKs, 1 Galil, 1 MAC-10 for PHR. So with a very heavy amount of presence towards short and the connector position on Fiend's part. Expecting Wisla to go towards this angle.
Now, you'd have to imagine that as soon as contact it comes out from connector itself, that's when damage is really going to be done. Spiro taking an early tag in for the Deagle. Bubble struggling to get the damage in completely for a kill. Han's going to be there to trade.
Taking away AK's in hand, going to join his teammates. Only that MAC-10 to drop for PHR's part, so nothing massively lost for Wisla Krakow at this stage. And Star just working in here with the scout out, eye set. So far, so little seen.
A decent read from Fiend to get out of that connector in short water position. Rotate a couple of players up to the A site itself. Not really hearing a massive amount over a B, and this scout is going to take the first contact at long.
Shot in, catches Sparrow next, 4 versus 3 now for Fiend. Flash is going to keep that player completely blinded here at the dumpster position. He's seen the head of the next man, catches PHR as he couldn't register where that CT was. Now the Deagler chimes in, and just like that, the whole round has fallen down for Wisla. Last player being spotted, bomb being dropped on the site, and Marcos now has got no choice but to save his weapon. He will find Victor on the way out, but surely there should be no much more than that.
Oh, fantastic round in from Fiend. And just Red Star doing work with that scout. Out from the back of APC in that bank position. Just being able to get away with a couple of kills. And then rotations in from Han is very effective with that Deagle. Dreamer even being able to pick up the AK and getting the job done in terms of finishing the round and all. Wisla, they ran into so many players on that A site on rotation. And in terms of the actual anchors that were there directly, they just couldn't really deal with them.
Round score sees 1 apiece coming in. Wisla losing out a massive amount thanks to their efforts. Nades on. Nice damage done by Bubble early. Tagging Goofy and PHR pretty low. Further smokes in. Sparrow gonna try to get the flashbangs together. Goofy with a Tech 9 will run forward, and Bubble gets that kill. Dream with a crossfire locked out. Turns back in with Victor. Also holding his own couple of kills back. Bubble and Dreamer doubling up. And Fiend get their second.
And the situation I look at Fiend being in is I draw some parallels from that game of Sinners, because in the first round for Sinners, they got really tested against Fall of Glory. 16-13, 16-13, and he looked at that and thought, oh, okay, up against Onyx, they're going to have a difficult time. And then it was that realization, 1 win gets us land, and they just explode out. And that is the opportunity that Fiend have on this first map of Overpass, is knowing 1 victory, 1 good start is all that we need. So let's give it everything we've got.
Still very early doors here for this one. Nothing's been decided for the Fiend side. AK spray through with the nades out. Jedka can get one good pick on. Probably should get traded back by Red Star as he looks towards that AK's position. Bubbles heard the footsteps and grab those main rifles. Just try to get the weapons in. So give Goofy a chance to get some damage, but not to be. Kills get found. Naked does get saved onto two individuals. So Fiend have all the firepower they can work with. Guns can come back out of Wisla.
Now, this is the chance for the Poles to really set some pace, be able to show what they've got to offer on T side. Are we going to see some more aggression? Are we going to see some slower stuff from them? We're going to see the AWP coming through from Red Star, only because he's got a very good spawn to go for an opening pick out and party.
Up ready into the mid position. First shot not going to quite connect. The flashbang actually keeps him blind. Does reface and does find a flick. Nicely done to Goofy. Great start.
Just imagine Hart being like, can I have that back now, please? I know that you got to fight, but I'd like that if possible. He's playing out with Con with the AK for now. And Fiend being able to work with the opening man advantage. Hart getting flashed in. Doesn't see Jedka, or at least PHR, I should say, in connector.
Sprays through, further flashes over into the short control. The CTs will try to look for another T-side contact, but outside of Goofy, they've seen nothing at all from Vista. Held away in their default positions. They're trying to hunt for the over-aggressive CT faces, but it just sprays through walls. Again, not going to overextend again.
I like that they got Han out of that connector position just with the utility, and they kind of work the man advantage and make sure they peek in together. Just get him out of there, get him into some safety. He can rotate back up to the A site, be further passive if he likes. Resmoke out to that monster position. Very well timed, because now the T's are starting to regroup out of monster, and there's still 3 players on B to deal with.
.30 seconds to the clock. Vista going to try to go for the hit in. Smoke out towards heaven. M4, Victor still sees 2, gets 1 kill. PHR assists with a kill against his teammate in the mix. And the bomb dropped as well. Marcos can try for a kill, but can't get it. Dreamer ends up with 2, and Fiend end up with 4.
It's a good start. Red Star with the flick. Very well achieved. And then just the crossfires being set. You don't exactly have 3 players at Monster, but you've got 3 players peeking to Monster, right? That crossfire being set. Dreamer playing anti-flash. Victor as well. Bubble. Notice, too, on Overpass, it's one of the only maps that this actually happens. The veterans played together on B, and the youngsters played together on A.
Half by basis for the T-side line. PHR caught Bubble with his frag. AWP Ahan also firing down in towards the T-con position. Can't land these frags. The nades might be able to pick up somebody. Either way, it's just kind of playing with the standard rifles to avoid those rifles falling into the hands of the T-side line. Second kill for Hahn. Third one not going to quite get found. Either way, flanks involved for Red Star. Drops that bomb. Looks to drop his backup. This is going to be a simple affair for Fiend.
Just picking apart the eco pistols. Jekyll last one. Red Star going to be able to multi-frag again, find a triple himself, and get Fiend up to 5. Wisla very slow to get started. Spiro, in-game leader, yet to be able to get a kill onto the board. Goofy's only managed 1. I got to imagine what Wisla have got up their sleeves, because they need to bounce back quickly.
(5-1) up, and the timeout has been called for Wisla. It's appropriate. They got that pistol and then nothing else since that point. So they've got to try and figure out a new way to work in against Team Fiend. Let's lose quite a massive margin to that CT side here. 4 rounds of difference, of course. And they have got a gun buy, so it's not going to be the worst situation in the world. The issue is winning the round itself. What strategies can they employ?
And for Fiend, recently they've won 10 out of the past 13 games. Losses to Copenhagen Flames, top 30 team in the world that's at the RMR. Losses to Double Pony, top 30 team at the RMR. Losses to Unique, maybe that's the one out of sort of left field, ever so slightly. We know that they're making their way to the RMR. They've already qualified to the Blast Showdowns. They've got a couple of LAN events coming up soon. They would love to make it 3 LAN events, and Bubble would love to make it a couple of kills.
Straight spray through, I believe, on towards Connector in that underpass position. Casualties taken already on PHR and Goofy, and that's a hell of a start of the Fiend. A well of a way to put the brakes back on the Vista as well, disrupt their entire strategy, because they just took a tactical pause. They had a game plan in mind, and that might have just been thrown straight out the window.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate when you get spammed in that sort of way. Just interconnector, couple of kills, and that just breaks the setup. Now you're like, right, everything we had in mind is now been disrupted. What do we do? Jedka's outside of Monster, Bomb's trailing to get out to the long position. It's such a difficult position to bring back in a 3v5.
Smoke's on. M4's just sat back pretty waiting. Red Star holding out towards long, going to keep his eyes on for the T-side line. Sparrow's just going to walk in with this bomb on his lonesome. Going to need that support from Marcos. If they drop that AK, they drop that player on long, or they'll drop the player towards mid, and now turn towards that individual. The flashes out will indicate what's going on, but it's still a 5v2 with no damage done to Fiend.
Are they starting to rotate away? Someone needs to keep eyes out from the monster position because that
Can't
bomb could get trailed back over. That's the problem, right, is the time is just such a factor. It needed to go now, and it just hasn't got at all.
Oh! And even adjust towards Dreamer. What a flick to the head. No mercy shown to Jedka, and they do actually sacrifice that T-side player to get back control of the A side. Sparrow could go for a bomb plant, but he acts way too slowly, and Red Star gets his pick in to allow Fiend for 6.
And it's things like that where I guess they're desperate, so they're trying to see if they can scramble the CTs ever so slightly. They needed that bomb to rotate so much quicker than it did, so okay, we'll pull the fake on B, we'll try and get the bomb down on A. Even Dreamer is able to flick over, and look at the deaths. Han once, Dreamer once, Red Star's yet to fall.
A couple of key players that you can't take out of play here for this, so they're going to try and work on that. In that last round, you can see why they're not falling, because there wasn't any damage done to the CT side. Han picks up the first frag on Marcos, half by involved for the T side in this one. Shot on, first casualty taken. Han's going to try and back off with a smoke involved, as siphon him away from the bathrooms for now. Big gap on the right hand side, going to be wary of. But for the most part, Fiend should be able to deal with Wisla.
Realising the pace, a couple of smokes going in towards bathrooms, just in case it doesn't get smoked the first time.
Can't trust those gaps being left in by the CT and T sides. PHR will find that one pick, and Red Star just run out of ammo, but Bubble's there to cover him. And grab the AK as well, the one that was dropped, leaves 7-1 on the board for Fiend. This is looking pretty dominant to start. I do know it's CT side, and a lot of teams do favour the CT side, but if Wisla can't get anything going soon, if they can't get at least a number of rounds on the T side line, then we're going to have some major problems going forward.
This is exactly like the Onyx game, where you've just got the favourite just destroying. And so far, Vista have found such limited success on this T side. Running out the defaults, can't really remember the last time they won an opening pick. They're not getting any star players, they're not finding any impact. Han getting baited out, so at least they know where the AWP is playing up onto the A site alone. In terms of money, you've got players almost at 16k.
That's how little damage has been done to Team Fiend. Wisla have just been stomped out of this one. Fiend are flying forward with their game plan. They're not letting Wisla have any chance whatsoever. We're looking at an 8-1 unless the T's find the adjustments now. Marcos can find Han, pick up that opening star, and get a man advantage with Wisla this time.
That's what they're fighting for. Red Star thinking about making an aggressive move forward. Does that bubble at least jiggle peeking, trying to pull some of the distraction away? 50 seconds on the clock. It does seem like it is going to be a lean into A.
No flash in for Goofy. Scope into the AWP instead. Marcos wins that fight. Goofy can follow suit on Red Star. So, 2 left standing at the Fiend camp. 2 AKs on Dreamer and Victor. How do they get back to this? Molotov's away from Bank and now from Dumpster here. They'll try and rotate through Bank perhaps. Goofy going to try and extend out to that position, try and look for CT presence, put a smoke on and get the bomb down.
That's a good round in terms of the default from Wisla. Yeah, they fight that opening pick, and then from there they just start working together. Bubble can't find anything on the jiggle. Red Star just gets swung, and there's not even any damage being done to that T side. A perfect return, and for the Poles, that's going to give them some confidence moving forward now.
A good round to take. But a hell of a hole to dig themselves out of still. Second to their board, 5 rounds of difference. Fiend still lead by quite the margin. We do have AKs as well to continue to hold firepower advantages above Wisla Krakow. And plenty of money to rebuy as well, so they can afford all the ops they want to. How do Fiend go about the responsive round?
Well, you'd have to imagine just being slightly lower on the tempo and just not quite as aggressive, just holding back, not by a crazy amount, but just ever so slightly, just not quite allowing those easy picks to come through. This might even be an aggressive setup out to Fountain. They've got 3 players on A.
Orps up into mid control, Marcos watching. Waiting for a CT to try and aggress him. He might get given that advantage by Victor if he's not careful. It's Red Star that might become the main focal point, however, with his M4 out. An aggressive, great flash in from Han to support the opening kill.
They're reading so often that Wisla aren't liking the B-pops, not liking them aggressive. Another great flash. Red Star sees another player. They've got 4 on A aggressively. Dreamer is the only person to defend B. He hasn't even seen a smoke, he hasn't seen any utility, or even any firefight, because they're adamant the T's are running their defaults to A, and that's exactly what this round is.
They found that kill. Only seen that one player up towards the top of mid. They saw the second player as well. The decon or T-con rotations, we inbounds and they didn't do that much damage to the return responsives, and they will rotate to get a bit more heavier on that B site. Flash's utility coming in, and Vista think they might want to go towards that B play instead. They'll leave one lurker out towards long, and that bomb commits via Monster.
They've just got really no map control at all. They can start making some sort of exec out for Monster itself. Bubble's going to be the nearest point of call. He's got Dreamer with him. They don't have a lot of nades between them.
Smoke over, flash at the ready. Incendiary also down, nice nades. Not doing that much damage, but still chips away at PHR, and they've also seen the man with the bomb on his back. Great kill from Bubble, blind behind the smoke. Victor follows suit with the trail on Marcos' part. 4 versus 2, Dreamer on site, playing around the pillar. Sees Marcos, gets that bomb on the drop again, and Jedka way too high with his crosshair. An 8th round for Fiend, they've already won the CT half.
It just looks comfortable from Fiend. Yeah, we're seeing a couple of rounds here or there that look successful from Wisla. This is just easy. The way that they flash Red Star aggressively. Bubble getting the one pick and falling away. Victor getting the lurk up on the banana position itself towards the A side. And then just Dreamer. He's got Han on rotate down from heaven. He's just playing in and around the pillar, consistently finding picks. And everyone is performing at a very high level from this Bulgarian squad.
Where do we go from here? Very rare to see such an early dominating start, such a ridiculous dominating start this early. Wisla kind of left up the creek at this stage. One of their buys back in. And flashes over in towards the long control. The AWP again going to try and take face. It was Marcos' efforts up towards top of long that was able to get the last round that they had together. Maybe this is the default that Wisla want to play.
Yeah, Han working with Red Star, thinking about making an aggressive move and an aggressive crossfire in the bathrooms. Jiggle peek. Oh, just peek into the AWP. Nice shot from Spiro.
Good trade from Red Star as he grabs that AWP and rotates it back out. We'll let the T side maintain control of it, and honestly, we'd be better off playing that weapon in the back of the A site. Bubble that takes contact in towards mid. The incendiaries on bathrooms will try and allow a bit of aggression to come forward. But again, it's that long control that has been left completely unaccounted for. And Goofy can get both those kills. Try looking for that triple. Dreamer's going to trade it back. They'll try and stall for time. The Victor's on the rotation. Back behind the truck position, trying to look for a bit more. Sees PHR. PHR gets his frag. And that probably seals the round.
Yeah, Victor's going to have a crack at trying to get the 1v3 together. Sees that first player out from truck. Oh, struggles with the spray. Does a fair bit of damage. Not quite enough for a kill. Just great timing out on that long position. Because you can see the way that Red Star and Bubble are now focusing their attention back to the bathroom's banana entrance. And for a slight moment, Red Star's not looking at long and Bubble's already aggressed forward. So as soon as that swing comes out for Goofy, that's 2 easy picks to open up A.
Again, no one watching long this time. Fiend should have had eyes on that position. It's what allowed Goofy to be able to get as far up as he did and get the kills on the site as he was able to do so. As easily as he was able to do so. Fiend will leave 3 back to the Vista side. They still sit on a confident money line. If they let rounds like that continue to go against their name, then they might be in for a bit of a harder time.
But it's a good start coming through for the in-game leader, Sparrow. That was his first kill in round 11 there of Overpass. Try and see if he can get some more involvement when it comes to this map itself. And for Wisla, just about finding more consistency. Because so far, they've only managed individual rounds. They haven't managed to follow up any.
a tactical timeout. Imagine that Fiend's efforts right here is going to try and stopping those follow-up rounds to come through from Wisla, and of course to tidy up those issues that they had in terms of watching that long presence. 5 rounds still in the lead for the Bulgarian team. Setting with their guns out towards their standard default positions. Wisla, bomb left out. Marcos with the AWP ready for contact in that monster angle. Nades up, incendiaries on. We're trying to stop the T-side players from facing that little plume of smoke alongside the actual smoke of the CT side. Will allow a bit of aggression to come forward.
This just seems to be a monster exec. No default, no nothing about it. And Dreamer and Victor, who's going to be playing anti-flash between the two?
That might be necessary at this stage. They continue putting the smokes up the monster. But at least 2 more that they can put on from the site itself, but they might not be necessary. Here they come, straight out of the gate. M4 with Dreamer holds on, only 1 frag. Bubble got to trade back on towards 2 players. He only gets the 1 kill of his own accord. BHR is low and is easily be fraggable, but the man advantage for Wisla allows the bomb to go down with confidence.
Great entries to the site, only allowing those anchors to get a couple of picks. Hard even being dealt with on rotation from the heaven angle itself. Means that Red Star's got to try and clutch a 1v3.
Incendiary, HE, and Flashbang. If he puts that HE in the right place, PHR is going to be a goner. The concern is going to be everybody else, though. Marcos and Sparrow, M4. Watching the opening and the site, hoping that our players are going to peek towards it. Got to be wary of ramp as well. He knows that PHR aggressed to that right-hand side and took out Han from heaven. Incendiaries will come in. The smokes will go down and reface from Red Star. Tries to aggress PHR. Will get the bomb down safely, but won't last long in the trade account. So, smoke up for him if he can try and find the defuse it. Probably get the round together itself. Incendiary on towards short control. Flashbang in towards Monster. Backs turn, and Sparrow finds an angle to get his kill and get the round.
Just the anchors not doing enough in that situation. Victor finds no picks, Dreamer gets 1, and then Bubble, who's the nearest player on the B side, only gets 1 himself. You need to be getting multi-frags when you're defending exec to B exec. And for Wisla, they just open up that bomb site, get the bomb down, they deal with Han very quickly in heaven. And Fiend, they're starting to go low on money in the reserve. They've still got a lot of buys together. They had huge amounts of money being farmed up in the early portion of this map. Now it's getting to a point where even getting closer to round 15, you think to yourself, are they just going to get reset at some point?
Possibility right now. Economy being worn down. Same could also apply in the other direction, though. Wisla. Working in careful positions. Nades. Dishing out some damage onto Jedka. Smokes up, and Goofy will start the walk out to the A site. A short control for now. Could rotate in from connector. It is open, but no CT contests it.
Just jiggle peeking out to the sandbags for Bubble. Flash over the top, draws the attention over to that monster angle. Han could be quick to rotate back into the heaven position to help out the B players.
The thing about doing so quickly is regressed out towards that mid control. Flashes forward for Bubble. Suppression involved for now. They won't know how much they're suppressing or if they're doing anything at all. Incendiary is honestly short action comes in from Goofy. Bubble dishes out some damage, but gets taken to 1 point of health. Needs support, and Victor is there to provide. Advantage only lasts so long. Nades back to deal with the 1 HP player in the center of the site, and still these 2 CTs of the anchor plays. Marcos can turn his AWP in against the likes of Victor. Then the Dreamer is still close. Sparrow swings with his teammate. Jedka assists with the kill. Red Star trades back with the M4. Shots in. Han will get dealt with, and it's all on Red Star to clutch another 1v2 retake. Swings up, can't see Sparrow, then catch him as the smoke plumed, and the bomb goes down again for an impossible scenario for Red Star being flanked in as the smoke clears up. Sparrow will get the kill and the round.
Some life coming out of Wisla, which is really a good sign for them that, okay, this map isn't just over and done with the early lead from Fiend. They're starting to put in some good rounds, baiting in a lot of over-aggressive peaks. Dreamer finds nothing after that contact out from Monster. Sparrow starting to really show up in a huge way. He gets 3 kills. And even though the kill numbers are very low for a lot of individuals from Wisla, the difference is only 3 in rounds.
Oh, we're up 8-2 at one point, so Wisla have really put in the hard yards to bring this back. 7-1 scoreline, in fact, at a certain point for Fiend, so it used to be even bigger of a deficit. Still could end up being a 10-5 or an 8-7 half, depending on how the momentum swings on the back of this tactical pause, as called by Fiend. 2 of them called by Fiend so far, so if you take a look at that, isolated from the rest of the game, it does indicate the Fiend aren't playing on the most confident footing. Now with a buyback here for this next round, it will leave nothing for round 15. They're kind of going to need to make this round work. Again,
this is a map that they don't mind playing as a map 3 or up against a map pick of their opposition. They don't really pick overpass and master amounts. You can't expect them to just come in and slap about. Try and see if they can push themselves to a very eagerly strong lead when it comes to going into that second. If they can make it 9-6 or even 10-5. Victor just even with the off angle out from Grill. How is he still alive? Okay, Dreamer at least gets dealt with.
And Victor can respond towards the next man. A 4 versus 3 counter flashing against the T side line. We're driving back with a smoke down from the CT side. Coming in from the A side play. I think Han just threw that. M4 meanwhile of Red Star caught off by Sparrow as he tries to regress a little bit too far forward into T-Con. Costing him his life and some information back for the T side line. PHR gonna wait for a CT swing. Bubble might just give it to him. You can see him tempting fate. He's feeling real antsy in that bridge position. 45 seconds with the Wisla hit, and he's coming in towards long. A hard rotate back leaves Han as the solo defender.
That seemed like a decent read. Even PHR's going to get forced into the open. Allows Bubble to go for the swing. Realize that it's only a lurk at that B side. See if they can rotate up. Really good information now that he's pressing forward. Seeing that he's run away. Okay, let's maybe think about rotating another player back up to the A side and pulling the attention for Han.
Hans just called that kill onto PHR, thinking the rotates might be coming back. He turns on from bathrooms, gets a quick kill on Sparrow. The smoke down at the cross might allow Marcos to get a bomb plant here. Looks around, catches Han as he drops in against him. Plants for Truck, no one can deny him, not even the player from Dumpster. Bubble will be quick up to the mid-control of the flank angle. Marcos gets away from that position, sees the second CT, but can't register the headshot in time. And Victor will close down the 9th for Fiend.
And it comes down to the 2 players that have been struggling on overpass that really show up in a big way. Victor has been having some troubles over at that B site. He finds 3 kills, peeking on the contact of Dreamer. Han gets away with a couple. What a spin around that is for the AWPer in the bathrooms, right?
I think that was really the ultimate round-winning play right there for him. A couple of mistakes made by Fiend, but the shots coming in. Like, see how quickly he adjusts towards this angle. You can see him just going for the quick flicks. And again, real big play for him, an all-important frag that enabled that round to come together for Fiend. Still on for the 10-5 half. Wisla, final buy.
And Nade going out towards Condor very early on allows Bubble to go for the spam in. He's been successful in that in the past. A Red Star with the AWP, going to be double AWPing with the likes of Han.
Red Star backing up. Gets the kill on Goofy in towards long. All-important pick. Again, starting these off for the Fiend side. That double AWP needs to have some impact right here. They put a lot behind it. It's the last round of the half and all.
Yeah, Red Star's had a very successful first half for him on that CT basis. Whether it be with the AK, with the M4, or even with the AWP. He's been moving around a lot. 16 kills and 5 deaths. He's even looking to try and see if he can turn this into a multi-frag.
AWP continues facing, can't see the T side. They walk away, back up towards bathrooms and onto a long position. Jedka, these Red Star flash out, gonna get back out of dodge. Counteraction of the utility. Driving them away from bathrooms for now as PHR gets his pick in. A 4 versus 4. Red Star can't find anybody else. Will start looking on towards long control. I was flashed off blind as Sparrow gets a pretty easy kill. And Red Star's going to get overwhelmed with a numbers game. Surely, yes. PHR finds it. Nades back. Could dish out some damage. Actually gets the kill on PHR. So back to a 2v2 on the retake.
More nades going down into the site, and for Sparrow, he's actually getting quite aggressive in the matter. Needs to try and link up with Marcos to get the synchronization in for the 2v2.
M4 watching AWP, and Marcos ready at the crack angle, gets his kill, swings back on Dreamer and lands it perfectly to say the bit of breathing room for Wisla Krakow. 9-6 down to the turn of the half, and see how well the T-side can go after the break. 3 rounds still for Wisla to make up. Fiend might not be in the dominating position that they were at the very start of the map, but they still hold the lead for now. Pistol round for their T side going live, and Wisla better focus heavily on getting the CT side bases going. Else Fiend could be in with a simple map up to start. Marcos at least can find a kill on Red Star, kick things off on the right foot, but all that does is force the main T side, forced to make the entries. Han seeing one player over at Toxic, can't deal with him. PHR gets 2 kills. Goofy there with the trade back. Dreamer looks on. Bubbles are going to try to look for Jedka. Eventually isolate that headshot back to a 3 versus 2. Make it 2v2 as PHR falls. Flick on towards Sparrow. Sees him, isolates him, gets his kill and gets the bomb down.
How have we got here? This was a 5-on-2 advantage to come through from Wisla, and now Marcos, the A player, has to be the one to get the clutch together.
They heard that shot as well. We took a shot back in from Monster. Know that he's on the flank. They see that bomb in the open position. Marcos, is there a defuse kit for him? Was it dropped by a teammate? Well, clearly nowhere close towards his position. Sees Bubbles' shadow. Tap on the bomb, force him out. T-side player on the counter flank for Dreamer. Eventually gets his double in as Bubble gets triple and Fiend find 10.
Geez, that's frustrating. You've got an aggressive long player to come through from Marcos. You win the opening fight. PHR gets 2. Right, round is done. 5v2. Okay, let's peek together. And we've got a great start into the second half. Oh, wait. Dreamer and Bubble are bringing this back, and the round is theirs. I seriously don't know how that's a possibility. Great individual prowess from the 2 veteran guys of Fiend. That should have never been a chance, though.
Oh, nades on PHR. Damage done so early to the follow-up round. Of course, Fiend of the buy-up. Wisla forcing the issue with double scouts. Mac 10's in on Red Star and Dreamer. Red Star's taking some damage. The scout of Marcos tries to work inland, but the AK Bubble can win out that fight, kick things off for the kill counts for Fiend.
They have taken a fair bit of damage to start. It just comes down now to, okay, can any of that chip damage actually be converted into kills? Well, Dreamer's waiting for a jiggle, some sort of extension in from Connector itself. Now starting to maybe make their way out from T-Con and into Fountain and Park and start initializing some sort of presence in terms of map control up to the A site itself. And for Wisla, we've got to see some playmakers in this situation.
PHR tries to become one. Nades up to long. Actually finds Red Star. That's respectable, but PHR's quick to fall in turn. The Eagle to Sparrow. Got Bubble easy to pick up. He's Dreamer next. Not quite on the headshot, just the tag to the shoulder. Fiend still have options. They could still rotate to the B site. They've drawn the CTs back in towards A. Goofy and Jericho are going to buy their best chance, especially with tags continuing to come through these scouts, doing a ton of damage. They're not always converting to kills, though. And Han based that player out, gets flashed in by his teammate, who flashes himself out of the same. Player out towards mid, detected. Deagle fires away, can't connect the headshots. Dreamer does fall towards Goofy, though. The damage continuing to mount up against the T-side line. They're running out of time now. The Deagle switched out to. Victor gets his kill. Now needs to find a headshot on Goofy immediately. Scout flicked upon, but looks the wrong way at the wrong time. And Victor will be able to hold around for Fiend, even though they took a ton of damage.
Oh, don't hold your breath. That was a close one, wasn't it? When you think about the early start, the opening pick, the nade stack onto PHR, you think, oh, this should be an easy round. Instead, it really goes down to the wire, and it comes down to Victor being able to pull that clutch together, being very composed in that situation. You're right about those scouts, though. So many tab bullets in, and just distraction. There's, what, 20 seconds on this contact here between Jedka and Goofy just trying to work together, and Victor on 13 points of health gets the job done.
Yeah, Char looking to get some work done here in the short position over on the B side. Only gets so far as that 1 kill. Victor can trade on towards him and the teammate. 2 for 1. Loads of HP damage done towards that player, though. Got to swap out with the main rifle. The AK now in the hands of Red Star instead. Fiend. We're back to the passive default.
Just waiting for more aggression. Should be a counter boost coming through for Spirit. Trying to see if he gets some eyes on. Might be able to deal with Red Star. Okay, it's another pick.
Still waiting around for CT presence. Jedka can't find the next player, so a couple of guns that can be recovered. Sparrow's not going to opt to go back for that AK. Instead, they've already cleared out the A site on Dreamer, who's going to hear those rotations inbound from both individuals. They should get the bomb plant down at default, challenging the Wisla side directly. Bomb plant will be secured. No HP advantage for the CT side.
Sparrow just hoping for any kind of further damage. Oh my goodness, what a shot onto Dreamer!
That's pretty impressive. Now all on Bubble. Okay. Held towards the bathrooms, waiting. Smokes down on the bomb. I think Sparrow's low. PHR watching. Bubble's got a swing. Bubble's got to swing soon. Time's of the essence. Got to spray through, look up to the top of the site, and still Jedka wins out that fight to grab the AK and steal the round for Wisla.
What a steal that is. And I guess Bubble wants to peek in late because he's got the idea they won't have a kit into this round. And then as soon as he peeks, he gets drawn to that distraction to the player on top of the dice position itself. And Fiend just crumble up against the eco. You think they're making a right call by rotating up to the A site. What a shot that is from Sparrow with the deagle. And he's just got that support from his teammate. Jedka will get that pick. Wisla find a 7th out of nowhere.
Gonna keep it as close against Fiend as they can. And of course, with that kind of round going their way, the bomb plant bonus is the best the Fiend have to work from here. Rebuy sees an AK, a Galil, a Mac-10, a Tech-9, and a Deagle. A lot of pistols, one SMG, and only a couple of rifles. The firepower is just not quite sufficient enough for Fiend here.
And that almost means that they have to set the rifles up. They have to try and see if they can bait in distractions, allow them to entry through and get the trades together. Jump spot comes out from the short water position. That would have seen 2 players there from Fiend.
Incendiary's up. Goofy watches. Expecting T-side players to make their moves in. They're watching for that run boost position, though. Maybe that someone goes for the jump face and gets a headshot. Given up to the AKs here. Flashes in. Here come the T-side. Goofy blind firing. Victor can isolate him with a backstab. PHR will burn alive, but Jedka's there for the trades. The Mac-10 can get just as good on the responsive, so 3-on-2 advantage. Bomb can go down. Incendiary is a suppressed nade on towards Han. AWP finds him instead, so we're back to a 2 versus 2.
Marcos has lost his teammate so quickly, and for Fiend, just play time. Just really try and see if they can slow the clock down. Marcos has got 30 seconds to win this 1v2. Oh, he's out of there, isn't he? He's just backing off. Come on, mate, go for it!
He had no kit. He had no idea it was one dropped outside over at the plat, and in the end he just said, you know what? Actually, nah, not worth it. Hold on to the AWP because the money's in tatters for Wisla. They could still force the issue with Goofy and Sparrow still being high rollers. This will be 12 for the Fiend side as they stack their way up and gain control of this scenario. They do lose 4 players in that round, but it was a force invest, so it's going to be expensive anyway. That's how they held the Kevlar on all, but great flank positions, and Victor in particular forcing his way into the site, forcing Victor to make their way up in position through one slight gap, one small mistake and lapse in judgment there for the CT defensive.
Now, even the buy-up doesn't look great. Yeah, you're going to get Sparrow up onto that double AWP. You're still rocking a couple of MP9s. And for Fiend, this is now the extra push to just get them closer and closer to round 16. Marcos getting flashed in. No real way that he can even open up with an aggressive peek out from Monster.
Looks in with the AWP out. Firing his way onto the T-side positions. Gaining nothing in this one. Fiend start walking up into the long position. Sparrow finds Victor. Starts on the right foot. Gets the advantage for the CT side.
Yeah, Goofy really needs to find at least 1 kill before getting traded. Red Star, just as the drive-by brings it back to a 4v4. Rotations are thinking about coming up onto the A site in terms of Jedka. Sparrow's alone for the moment.
Smoke down at long, flash forward, so Han can isolate players here in the corner, but nobody is out there. Bubble waiting for his potential move in. Got 1 smoke and 1 flash for the execution here for Fiend. And that bombing towards that mid-control. Sparrow finds the crack angle. That divider lands a second shot as well with a flick. Realizes there's a 3rd player out there and gets him all the same. Dreamer can get 1 kill out to long, but now being on 20 HP in a 1v3, he knows he's not winning this round.
Yeah, Sparrow could be on for even the ace at this point. Gotta wonder just how quickly that last kill is going to come in. Dreamer thinking about just trying to see if he could hold on to the AK. What a round from the in-game leader of Wisla, just holding down with the AWP, hitting some great flicks.
Beautiful stuff. And again, Wisla find themselves on 8. With not a lot of loss bonus for Fiend either. No bomb plant in this round means that there's no cash available. Double eco status, in fact. Doing a 10 to 12 as Wisla try and claw their map pick back.
Now, you'd have to imagine that we could be getting close to that kind of a scoreline. Double eco means that they'll have to buy it down. And for Wisla, considering that they were at a portion where they were 2-8, they've actually started to really climb this back. Spiro was, what, 0-1-9 at one point, and now he's starting to really show up.
That in on one of the two warps as well for Wisla. Marcos trying to watch in with him towards that mid control. Eventually he will back off, leave it all on Sparrow to hold down the mid position. We're watching out Connector for the time being, and the teams might get up the Ghost on that front. He actually falls back even further. Sure that no one's in the bathrooms, just in case they have found a sneaky beaky like play. They will reaggress with Marcos again, trying to look for that crack angle. And Sparrow just watching the mid position, seeing nothing so far.
Yeah, both orbs on A. Don't really see this very often at all, and Marcos is going to take that first contact. There's only some util for the T's to work with. This has to be a full-blown set piece into A.
3 players spotted. Marcos going to adjust against the first man, and the second with adjustments as well. The taps forward of the pistols of Sparrow, trying to flick on. Could get overwhelmed by players if he's not careful. The jump phase, the P2K's out. Dreamer does get caught for it, and Bubble all set to fall. Beautiful sequence from both the AWPers. They do lose one, but they gain a 9th round.
And that's another great round to come in from Wisla. Just the way that Marcos is slightly aggressive, even multi-frags doesn't just get one and full straight away. And for Spiro, just the readability of realizing that Han, okay, might go for an aggressive move. Oh, there might be a walk through the long smoke. I'll keep an eye out for that. Adjust into that third player, and Wisla, they're closing the gap.
Only 3 rounds to go. Nades on, flashes over, SMG trying to take face in. PHR is watching with the AK in hand, sees Bubble, gets his frag. Kicks things off with the right foot again. Fiend only down to the pistols here. It's kind of an eco round. We're looking at that 10th round for Wisla Krakow, unless there is a steal involved for the T side, but with Marcos following suit on a second pick on Han and SMG kill as well. Doesn't indicate many good things ahead of the Fiend camp here.
Maybe they can bait the AWPer, try and see if they can get the Glock to backstab in. Could even see a knife attempt from Dreamer.
You were saying?
I was saying, and then he turned around.
Well, Red Star can't get one good frag out towards the bathrooms area. PHR will be able to shut him down. No backstabs anymore here for Fiend. 12-10. Still 2 up with guns out for the next one. Wisla. This is where the real task begins.
I gotta wonder what the attitude is like as well in terms of mentality from Fiend, because they were in a very good position where it looked like they were going to steamroll this map. It's now actually become quite tighter than they probably expect it was. I guess the one advantage they do have over Wisla is both teams statistically have very strong T sides. So knowing they've got a lead and they're on T side at the moment does bode well for the Bulgarians.
The AKs and the Galil out. And rebuy, of course, for this round. Ideally, Fiend want to try and hold this round. They want to try and dish out some damage and try and stop Wisla from getting control of this map up. Bit of breathing room, of course, for them. Flashes in as Bubble tries to take face. That AWPer sets pretty passive on that mid control for Marcos, so it won't be as easy for Bubble to get this kill. He is the lurker, though. The main focal point is going to be the B hit.
Even in Bubble, how much can he pull in terms of a distraction with over-rotates for the City side? Even that one flash isn't really getting the B players to move at all, and Goofy seeing what's going on. They're going to run out.
Oh, gets 2 kills on Victor as he transfers out towards Goofy, completely blinded. 1 player on the site. Bubble finds the flanking over at Shore, and they didn't think there were too many players down at Monster. They saw the 1-man aggress, thinking that he was the lurk, and a misread from Wisla is going to cost them the round.
Jeez, how was that second kill come into Victor? He's completely blind. That's got to be so annoying if you're one of those anchor players where you've done everything right with the util, and then the T still open up the bomb site. That looks so easy from Fiend.
That it did. The 13th up, Wisla. Go back and save these 2 weapons because they're going to kind of need them here. The money's still in a roughly awkward spot. Burr in particular is going to be the man that is going to see the least amount of cash for. Either can get dropped. They need those 2 weapons to stay in play because Wisla are going to need everything they can get at this stage. Fiend is closing in still. Only a few rounds to go before they take the Polish map pick.
are getting close to the end, and that also puts more pressure on the Poles to really be able to perform, because with these double AWPs, it takes a fair bit of money to get them going, and we have seen at times a lot of success coming through from them up to the A side. Haven't really seen many AWP picks down at B.
We've been mostly focusing on the A site here for the CTs. Hansorb leans in. Re-smokes on as they try and fight for that short control in the AWP and then AK's part. Goofy going to reveal that he is playing aggressive here at the monster entrance. But so far, so little is gained in the way of actual control. It's just bullets firing. Neither side getting an advantage or a kill.
Yeah, Marcos is just waiting to get re-smoked or waiting for any sort of jiggle peek. Even the B players trying to see if they can get baited for more util. Harm waiting for a jump spot over the top of that boost position. And for Wisla, outside of the aggressive player Aspero in long, they're going to start rotating everyone to B.
Four-man stack, which actually might be the right call here for Wisla. Fiend ready and waiting to receive. Great flash in. Jedka sees Bubble, and Bubble gives him a second chance with Goofy finding the bomb carrier as well. Hard to go down, a 5 versus 3. Victor's got to fight to get the bomb himself back here, and they're wasting time. 30 seconds. They'll grab it with a kill on Goofy, but no real rotation potential. They've got to hit the B site.
They're running out of time, and I think they're just going to save. Yeah, pick up that AWP, back off. You realize the position of, okay, time is low. Now that we've already lost a couple of picks and we've only got one, they're probably completely rotated. They might not have even had that information of just how many CTs there were on B, except, okay, once we've already taken the contact, there should be even more than that. So hold on to what we've got. Money's not great. We'll buy up in the next round, no problem.
11 to the board of Wisla, and to their credit on Fiend's part, they got cash to drop weapons for their teammates. An all-important victory for the likes of the Polish squad, though, again, trying to keep themselves in touching distance and trying to overtake Fiend in the not-too-distant future. Starting to run out of opportunities to do so, however. Small tech pause called in by the Wisla side. Mouse issues, I'm being told appropriately. Hopefully only a couple more moments before we jump back in and see these two rounds that could equalize against the Fiend side.
Yeah, Wisla have been working hard on their CT basis. They've been able to really show up in a way that shows competitiveness, and it shows that the map victory is still on the table. Not saying that it'll be there. They do need to pull further ahead, and the difficult nature with them is that they've kept the scoreline deficit close at times, like where it is now of only 2. Never a lead outside of, what, the opening pistol rounds. And then we went 1-1, and then from there, they've never had a lead.
Yeah, Fiend have been in control since that point, and even though they started to lose control and been equalized against, it could still come up against Wisla if they're not careful. Rebuys in, of course. AK's out. Victor has not been dropped a weapon, I don't think.
He's going back.
He's going back for one. 2,600 though. He's $100 short of the AK. Probably getting a Galil, I imagine. No, just the Deagle in this round. Okay, well, hand cannon's available. And single AWP with the 3 AKs other than that.
Yeah, give himself some extra security in terms of more money in the reserve, which is going to help them. Maybe get that AWP back out into the next round if that is sort of a situation that goes down like that. Very passive coming through from Fiend, and I guess in a round like this, you want to try and see if you can just set yourself up for a bit of an opening kill. We know that both AWPers have been playing on A very heavily, so use that util, try and drive them further back passive.
AWP looking in for Sparrow. Nice set into the mid control. Gonna have to wait Fiend's aggression. When will they start to take face? When will they start to look for the hit? Marcos leans up with the AWP, and he could catch these players off guard. No, Dreamer's caught him. He's caught info. Someone's got to adjust towards it. I think that Han's going to do so. But the AWP battle, it's got to be a game of patience for the T side, because that's what Marcos is going to give up. Nice kill, but 30 seconds remain. Sparrow still center with a sight. Great shot on Dreamer. Flash down blinded, forcing him away from long. A second flash will get him out of the way. He still refaces and gets a kill onto Victor. Still holding contention with teammates on the rotations back, and indeed PHR and Goofy come up with rifle kills, leaving Han alone in the 1 versus 4. What a hold from Wisla Krakow.
Another great sequence in the double AWPer. Spirit, good hops coming through for Goofy as well to bait out the AWPer. And Han's going to get hunted down after time. Oh, I think they just got the kill through, so he won't die completely after the time expires.
No, I think he $2,300. I think that's what he had at the start of the round.
Yeah, you know what? You might be right, actually.
He died after time. He died after time.
It was close, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like down to the split second or so. Struggling to deal with Sparrow on the back of his sight, though. He was the main reason why Wisla were able to take that one, because of his 2 kills to stick around that long control. Fiend couldn't find a way to get him killed off or to force him even further deeper into long. And now we're on eco for Fiend. Wisla closing in the gap, could still find their pick.
Yeah, crazy to think, too, that they had the early info of Marcos. They dealt with him effectively, and there was only 1 more player on A. Sparrow was completely alone. He held for a couple of kills, and then rotations just started coming through in a huge way of PHR and Goofy. Fiend struggling on this T side when it comes to the rifle rounds.
Orps in on Sparrow. Red Star waiting. Tap forward to the Deagle, one of the higher fragging power weapons here for Fiend. It is basically a deco round. No kills established. Not a lot of contact here. They're just playing behind the smokes and going to go for the B hit.
Notice how passive Wisla are on both B and on A. They don't want to get picked off by these eco pistols, so play back defensively rather than any aggressive moves.
Nice thinks on Goofy, nades out. Jedka gets his kill. Victor can deal with PHR. Flash is inbound as the T-side players make their way up and catch that individual off guard. Jedka struggles. Oh no, Marcos has got to get these trades. Unfortunately, he does. Can't go for the wall bangs on the site, but the name from Sparrow will deny that plant regardless. And Dreamer with 20 seconds to try go for it. We pick it back up again. Shoulder baits in the AWPers, but Marcos with a swing gets his triple. And fortunately, that round goes the way of Wisla.
Very good recovery coming through from the poles, because that looked really awful on the B side. The anchors didn't really find much. They've got themselves in a 2 versus 4 on the retake. And I guess because Fiend don't have much investment there, they don't have any util. So they can't smoke off that heaven position. Makes it really easy for at least the 2 AWPers on rotate to start being able to get a couple of picks off. Even that HE being placed in the default position denies that bomb from going down. And Wisla, if they get up to 13, Sparrow going aggressive out for party.
Jump face from Jedka looking for info. Might have seen that one individual. Nades up, smokes down, as standard stuff from the CT side. A suppression against Fiend. They know that they're out there in short. They know how much a boost involved could allow Fiend's opening kill here. Dreamer. Gonna be ready for jump face. Footstep her, they know.
They might know that it was coming through, and they can't even find it the second time. No point doing it a third either.
I don't know how they struggled on that one. That's pretty simple. I imagine that a team like Fiend would know how to get the boost in, the rail boost. Flashes in, smokes down, standard. Suppression again from the CT side, waiting for a secondary boost. The AUG's watching for it. And rotations look to come back from the T side. They might be going into the A site, especially if Sparrow gets forced off angle.
Bubble's now going very aggressive. Marcos going to get flashed by only half a second or so. Rotation's coming up. This is going to be a fate. The bomb's going back to B.
Utility inbound, still 2 players on that B site, and rotations can come in just as quickly here for Wisla Krakow. M4 Goofy will still hold alongside Jedka, who's pushed up all the way in Munster, knowing that they're all going to be coming in from the short control. Blind fire, 20 seconds. Molotov going to try force him out of the way. In towards water, he'll have to go. Sees 1 player at the end of the site. Victor gets his kill and doubles up on towards Goofy. Marcos is AWP. Can't hold the trades. Eventually gets close against 1 T-side individual and finds it to a 3v3 for the retake.
Oh, Jedka's just going to have that trigger discipline. Try to get a couple of kills. Get the first and the second, and now Dreamer's the last one left.
All of a sudden, it all turns back to the favor of the CT side. The one linchpin angle is the aggressive and makes it work. But Dreamer lines up too and gets 14 for Fiend.
Oh my goodness, just when we see such a sick play coming through from Jedka, he's the monster player, he's the backstabber, and he gets in all behind them. Goofy, Marcos, they're all pulling distraction. They're trying to pull the attention over. Jedka sneaks into the backline. He gets 2 kills, and then Dreamer wins the 1v3. What a sequence from the big man.
A thrown round for Wisla. Right out the window in that respect, but Marcos wants to get right back into this one. His AWP strikes alongside Sparrows, and Wisla, despite those mistakes, will recover a massive, massive sequence to open up our next round. 1:30 into this, and it's a 5v2.
What a way to return, to think about the frustration that may have been in that round, for them to bounce back in that way. Marcos having the tempo, having that aggressive nature behind him, out to underpass, get a couple of kicks, and then Sparrow just backs him up in short water.
AK's up. Or pin of Han. SMG of Jedka ready to take face. But it's gone quiet here. It's gone so quiet on overpass because there's no options. Dreamer knows it. Han knows it. Fiend is so back passive with no map control. There's very little chances to get any here. This has got to be 14 all.
There's got to be a save. They don't have any other options. You're not going to go for it. Yeah, you got bomb control, but 2v5, it's not going to happen. So hold on to your weapons, bring it into the next round. At least the loss bonus is decent. Yeah, it's not great. It's okay. So if they want, they really can force around this sort of buy, give themselves some upgrades. Wisla going to maybe think about going after time. We're seeing some aggressive moves into connector. Realize if we could just get one more pick, it could actually make a difference.
Counter-terrorists win. 14 all. The rebuy on the table for Fiend. It has got to be a big, big round for them to stay alive in this one. Timeout taken. What's being discussed? It's for Fiend, of course. Is it about the save prospect? Is it about the tactics this next round? Like, what's going through their minds?
Nah, difficult to say, really. You'd have to imagine the buy status is going to be one of them, knowing that Bubble's got a fair bit of cash, and he's actually just going to go for a Mac 10. So he drops a rifle that goes over to Red Star and gets a Mac 10 in response. I like that for the in-game leader. Yeah, you got to put the ego aside for a moment and say, right, 14-14, we got to get the rifle in the best hands possible, so we'll give it over to Red Star.
Marcos takes the face up with his own AWP. Sparrow continuing to play doubles with this man. Mac 10 double 2 AKs in. The Deagle for Victor. Man, this buy is wrecked, but Fiend needs to make it work. If they can't, that means Wisla may still take their pick, and that will limit the factor of Fiend getting the initial advantages. Getting that 2-0 potential we mentioned so heavily at the start of the matchup. Walks come in, up and into the long control.
Very patient to come in from Fiend, and not even leaving a lurk outside a monster. So in terms of info plays, aggressive moves from the city side, it's available. Sparrow, this AWP, just so passive, just waiting for a walk forward, waiting for any contact out at long.
AWP in towards long. Incendiaries aren't to stop them from making their way inland. The AWP of Marcos is watching in from bathrooms. PHR with the M4 out. What's he going to find with this? Turned away from, seeing utility getting thrown over the dumpster, smoke back. Flashes forward, T-side players make their way in. Mac 10 gets caught first, but Red Star gets his kill involved. Sparrow with his AWP frag, Marcos with his. Finds a 2-for-1, 2-for-2. Hahn gets involved. Bubble and Jenka go trading back and forth. Jenka still in the back of the site, and Bubble turns that AWP into a frag. It's all on Goofy. Bomb to get picked up, to attempt to be planted. No, he's peeked in, got his kill. Bubble's low, 4 HP. Goofy doesn't need a headshot. The Molotov gonna force him forward into an engagement, which he can most certainly win and get Wisla on map points.
And that's got to be the biggest round we've seen from Goofy this entire map so far, and that gets him on to 15. Not only does that become a possibility, Jay, but they don't allow the bomb to go down, so money is wrecked again from the Fiend side. So much chaos with these trades up into the bomb site itself, and when Bubble does that with the AWP being low HP, you think, right, that's the chance into the round itself. Dreamer looking the wrong way, Goofy getting the clutch on, and Wisla, one more round to go. This map could be theirs.
A tactical pause called in by Wisla. 15-14. Would have thought the Fiend would have called in this tactical at this stage, because right now they need it. As you mentioned, no bomb plot means that this buy is going to be looking just basically in tatters here. Galil's out on 2, AK's on 2 more. Deagle in for Bubble. Flashes at the ready on several individuals, a couple of smokes for Fiend. Smokes down to the CT side to deny initial aggression, try and stop that monster push.
You gotta imagine this is just gonna be a monster exec, isn't it? It's just gonna be the straight play. There's not gonna be any default about this. And for Goofy, he's gonna be the point of call.
He smoke onto the CT side. They're going to make their way ahead of it regardless. AK in the Victor gets his entry. He's been fantastic in the monster position. With an aid from Jedka can trade it. They're not ready for Hahn, who's already aggressed. Jedka in it round. Finds one, does not find any more. Dreamer holds the trade. And Red Star combines with him to get the player jumping out of heaven, leaving Sparrow alone in the 1 versus 3. He's AWP out coming into Graffiti with a lot of work to be done. Surely this has got to be overtime. Fiend with a broken force buy. They have just found their lifeline.
Sparrow gets the read that there might be someone out to that Graffiti position. Not at all. Wallbang shot does come through, so there's some damage being done. He needs to get onto a fight against a no-scope. Needs to try and follow up. Time is incredibly low. Both players in on the site get a ping together. Red Star finishes off the job, and we go to OT again for today. Oh my goodness, what a gut feeling that is for the T side of Bubble to go, right, we're just going to go for the exact, we're going to go for the B play, and Dreamer, that was such a sick round from him.
That really was. Sparrow just felt like he was so on for this retake as well. That no-scope shot, how that found Dreamer, I will never ever know. But either way, it's Fiend 15 apiece now as they equalize and take us to another overtime duel. It's funny, we came into today not having any overtimes whatsoever in this tournament, and here we are now with 2-in-2 matches. So I think it's all thumbs up for me personally. I do have some concerns about Fiend though, because like, look, they had such a great solid start. They were up 7-1, 8-2. They kept a really great distance against Wisla Krakow. They played so comfortably. They looked so good. They looked like they weren't missing a single beat. And then that whole choke in the second half happened. So I wanted to ask, like, is there something to be concerned about now for Fiend?
I don't think it was much a choke at all. I think it was just Wisla were just really quiet to start. Again, you had, I think, guys sitting on 2 or 3 kills for the first, 10, 11, 12 rounds of the game. Everyone was just so quiet, and it seemed that finally they got some momentum together. They're able to string rounds together to go into the back end of the first half, and then sort of even moving into the second, those double orbs were everything. Marcos was being incredibly consistent. Spiro was the same.
They really picked up the slacks, honestly. Like, they look fantastic on those big greens. Great counterplays from Wisla Krakow. And quite honestly, I had a feeling that they probably should have won that particular half. I think they probably should have won the map up. We're going towards our break, and get to that map too. Their own pick of the Wisla side. Still being contested by Fiend though. And Fiend, you can imagine how hungry they are to get this kind of a round together. This kind of a map together. Hold this pick in against their own opposition's side. You know, Wisla have worked really hard to keep themselves close against Fiend. And again, Fiend are the ones that had the lead. Had they not found such a great early start in this matchup, then things could have been looking like a very different story, I feel like.
Yeah, again though, it happens with a lot of games, is that you get an early start, you have that safety net, don't you? You have that comfortability feeling, and that's what Fiend were able to run for the majority of that second half with. We saw a decent couple of attempts towards the back end there. Obviously that 1v2 that came through from Goofy just got them over the line to get to that 15th. You have a look at the way that that could have been played, and you start running these what-ifs in your mind. Well, if that 1v2 didn't come out, and then Fiend do exactly what they did in round 30, well, that's 16-14 and we're done and dusted. Instead, we go into this overtime, and you'd have to imagine the AWPs are going to consistently get bought out by Wisla on that CT side. I am slightly worried about Han, though. He had a bit of a poor performance on Overpass, and when you consider just how great the AWPing was on the other side, having the AWPing be quite quiet for them is a concern.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, honestly. Like, I look at, obviously, I take a look at AWPers all the time and say those got to be the guys that stand out the most because the AWP is such an important role in the current meta of Counter-Strike. So seeing Han not find as much impact as a Marcos or as a Sparrow, that is worrying to me to a certain extent because, yeah, you're right. Like, again, if those guys are fragging, then that's going to be one particularly strong side of the team that will be able to dominate, I think, on the Wisla camp.
Yeah, the difficult nature here, though, is can they start showing up with pressure? And for Fiend, just getting the job done when it matters the most. Yeah, those double AWPs have been great. They've been playing a lot over towards the A side. So are we going to see some more B pops and some more aggressive plays in terms of executions? I'm seeing some really good clutches over the course of this map. I think the 1v3 from Dreamer was really up there. Even that 1v2 for Goofy to just get them up 15-14 was so impactful.
It really was, you know, like, even when they had such an awkward basis, like, seeing how Fiend just consistently contested and how much of an effort it was for Wisla to even get to this position in the first place. Like, again, they were down by such a ridiculous margin. So, for both sides, they've had their positive signs and also their negative sides of things. Who do you think needs to be the players to step up here for these respective teams to try and get this overtime under their wraps?
Well, again, when I look at Wisla, it has to be the two AWPers, right? They're going to continue up on the city basis. It has to be Sparrow and Marcos. Those two guys have been very impactful. In terms of Fiend, I probably want to try and see a little bit more out of Dreamer and Victor. Those two guys have looked very impactful. Red Star was very consistent in the first half on the city basis. He was, what, 20-9? And then, if I calculated correctly, he put 3 kills up on that T side in that second half. So very worrying for him. I guess maybe when we get to the CT basis, we'll see more from him. But in terms of a T side, he really did not perform.
And they'll be on a T-side start as well for Fiend and everything. Like, I feel like they have to just try and get themselves back into gear and back with their heads in the game, essentially, to be able to dominate on a T-side line and try and get these first couple of rounds on the board, at least for the first half of the OT. For me, the guy I'm looking at to step up here is Han, because, again, him being so behind, like, it's like he's very far behind even the teammates that he has on the server. So not only is he not matching up to the AWP comparison compared to the likes of Wisla, he's not even matching up to his teammates' pacing. So there's one guy I want to see go further in this one and try and get some more of a decent basis with their firepower. It probably would be him.
And not only for him, but for Fiend as a whole, this is going to be a wake-up call, knowing how comfortable it looked on Overpass to now being pushed all the way to OT. Okay, we'll settle down in the break, and then let's come in. Fresh mindset, fresh attitude. Let's try and get this map over and done with. And this is another exchange of what we've seen on day 4, where the last series, very close, very down to the wire. We've got a replicant right here on map 1.
Indeed we do, and I feel like that this one could still be going pretty damn close as well. You know, it is encouraging, at least for Wisla, for Fiend, that they are going toe-to-toe against Wisla on Visla's map pick, so I guess going forward indicate that there's still some basis to work from going into Dust 2 and potentially even Ancient after the fact. But I think they would love to get this map on the wraps, because I think they would love to get a 2-0, and I think a 2-0 is very possible for these guys at this stage. But the question is whether they can get that T-side on the wraps first and foremost here in our overtime. They will be on that T-side start at 15 apiece, MR3, 16k as standard. Guns out the AKs across the entire T-board. No AWPs. Han just opting for the straight AK here.
Yeah, finding more success with it on T-side at least. So, okay, we'll just get the full AKs out for everybody. Marcos is thinking about making a super aggressive play up from the long position. Could be able to catch off Red Star to start the round off.
In positions, Goofy. Ready for the swing back. The smokes on position. Victor will start the walk out towards short. Very, very carefully placed here. Jade could just wait as Victor starts swinging.
That's a good read here for the City side. Anti-flash coming through from Goofy out from the monster position. Red Star struggling.
What?
Actually comes through. Not quite the spray transfer. It looked like it was. They have been able to open up the B side, and now it comes down to Orbs to retake.
That looked like that was an awkward spray on the second player back at Grill. Either way for Fiend, it's an all-important set piece. Goes into the B side. Victor ends up with a triple, and Marcos is left basically to save under this one. It's going to be a starting round for Fiend in this overtime, and again, off on the right foot for the T side.
Victor, the entry fragger, having so much success coming out from that monster pipe position. Just 3 kills, opening up the site itself. Marcos has been able to see 1. He might as well go for this.
Doesn't quite find that second, unfortunately, so Victor's there free. Quick train, and we have a starting round for Fiend. At least it was a good effort right there. You can see how perfect that looked as well with a spray transfer for the AK, I should say. There's 16 up for that board. And Wisla right back in with a double op setup as you would expect here. Heavy investments, of course they can afford it. So can Fiend.
You got to wonder as well for Wisla how much emphasis they're going to have in terms of B-side anchors, because for Fiend, over the course of not only that last round, but even in the second half that we saw from them on their T side, those B hits in terms of executions probably work the best out of any other strat.
Shot in, Vespero opens up towards that mid control, catching Red Star. Picking things off for the CT side. Again, the double orbs that have been effective for Wisla so far on the CT half of things. And carry forward with the opening start, and Fiend suppressed by fire.
It could be a walkout from the monster position as well from the short sandbags area. CT's thinking about putting up some smokes in and around the pillar position itself to give themselves some security in terms of the positions being held. Even Marcos could come quite quickly into trying to deal with the short players from Connector.
Victor out, Goofy gets his kill against him. Dreamer and Han can respond to a 3 versus 3. The Orpa Marcos missing out here is Squeaky. Did see a player back over at the corner, over at the sandbags. PHR takes his faces against Han and wins out that particular fight. So, advantage for Wisla. AWP close. PHR can bail out the traders. Bubble falls, and it's all left to Dreamer. The bomb out in the center of the site. Got to get picked up and planted soon. 25 seconds, and now PHR has the information on where that bomb is, with the back still being Turbo Dreamer. Names a triple for the CT player, and a 16th for Wisla Krakow.
I just saw there from Fiend in terms of entries. Victor only gets that dink off, doesn't really do all of the damage necessary. And from there, just not being able to completely push their way forward. Goofy gets that trade back, Han follows suit, but it's not multi-frags. And even just the distraction being pulled away from the AWP and Marcos made it difficult for that bomb to enter out to the site itself. Dreamer not able to get the job done, and Wisla tied the scoreline 16-16.
Tactical pause called in for the likes of Fiend. Knowing that there could be potential right here if they can get this next round. Again, the CT half was the better half for them, so they can get an advantage now on T side. That could be enough to push them past the finish line.
You could say that for both teams, right? So, honestly, either team that gets more than 1 round on T side puts themselves in a grand position. And for Fiend, knowing that they've got the chance of going up to 2 before switching halves, there's a lot of emphasis on here of making it strong and coming out with a win.
Shots in Vespero, catching Han first and foremost. The AWP out for him and still unable to find that much impact. Red Star will pick up the big green. Won't be able to find the man of Marcos here. Is waiting back towards that long control. Take that mid position on the T side line. They leave themselves pretty open to the idea of an AWP swing. Vespero's crossfire with the AWP. Might see a second T side player peeking away at the wrong moment. The timing's beautiful. The jump face of Red Star has now seed information.
Oh, Victor should get an easy kill, right? Sparrow's got no idea they're in the bathrooms. And now the distraction comes through from the utility. Great swing around. Bubble gets that trade.
Advantage still for Wisla, though. Rotations inbound. The bomb can go down to the A site. The question's going to be on the retake, and Marcos still here towards the mid control. He'll catch off a leg shot on Red Star, who turns it into a frag back and a flashbang straight up towards that top mid control. Bomb shouldn't get planted yet. They're still making their way up to sight. Smokes in the Goofy, going to allow a bit of breathing room with a bit of siphon of vision, but as the bomb goes down, it's still going to be a 3v3.
Now, these M4s are close to one another in terms of util. It's so dry, they don't have any for Wisla.
Victor's just waiting, all being sprayed up. They know where he is. Swing out to allow a kill on Jedko. Goofy also goes down with Red Star chiming in with the AWP on the final player of PHR. And it will be 17-16 up for the boys over on Fiend. An all-important round for them. After such a solid start as well for the CT side, the AWP of Sparrow did so much work.
That kill pretty much decided it, because for Marcos, he only hits the leg. He doesn't get the full commitment in terms of the entire damage possible. And just from there, notice how quickly the 3 T-side players in that post plant from Fiend just got kills. What, in less than a second? All 3 of them together? All doing work. Victor, Dreamer, and Red Star. And Wisla down by 1. You now start thinking to yourself, okay, is that, maybe not so much the curse lifted, but is that what's necessary? Knowing both teams, 10-5 on the CT. Now you come in and you think, right, Fiend have already got 2 T-side players. Is the job done?
Only time can tell on that front, but we have got that major win condition fulfilled thus far for this team. This is Krakow. All behind by a margin. Opportunities abound for them at this particular stage. And going into the CT half where Fiend could really take control of this, they just need 2. Wisla need 3. As we see us equalize to 18 apiece and go to another OT off the back of that. Double AWP setup for the T side. I mean, I guess it worked well for the CT half, so why not give Marcos and Sparrow off the leash?
Yeah, I don't mind this, honestly. Only because both players have found so much impact. We saw Sparrow with that flick out to Connector in the last round playing from Divider, so maybe you leave an extra AK forward of the T-spawn that in case they don't quite want to continue running the double AWPs and you can go back over to it. They've found so much success with it, so T-side or City side doesn't matter.
Double AWP set up for Han and Red Star here for the Fiend camp on the contrary. I think the first time we've seen Fiend bringing out the 2 big weapons. Intercept with the nades in. AWP Sparrow hoping for some CT aggression, but so far so little is gained. Fiend are happy to sit in their defensive lines and wait for Vista's play.
Victor just with the surf, getting closer to that monster position. And this is one of those angles that has not been played at all, I don't think, in this map so far. We had, like, Dreamer playing close to Monster, playing anti-flash, but not in that position. And it's one of those where, because you've played so much of Overpass, if you go for a Monster B exec, you might not check it because you're not thinking about it.
Well, for now, the 4 players over on the B site, and that position might not even come into fruition at all here for the CT defensive. The utility thrown over by 1 man is going to indicate a B execution, when in reality, it's going to be a long play. 2 CTs thinking about their rotations, but Red Star's going to wait for contact before he calls it in for definitive. That bomb's on long though, so they're committing. Molotov's back here. That should force the CTs back into position. The AWP still hoping for an overextension, but Vista should get the bomb down.
Hey, you almost never see a 5-on-5 retake in overtime. Very rarely. And for Fiend, it just came down to how many players they put out onto the B side.
Make their way up. Red Star's AWP. Watching and waiting. PHR with the AK. Bubble and Red Star. And the moves in. Flash is over. AK involved against 2. Only gets that 1 kill. Red Star with a responsive. Goofy gets involved. Crack angle held by the AWP is going to continue extending as Jedka finds another good frag and doubles up onto Dreamer. Triple overall for him with Red Star being left alone. Dinked down by a Glock. Jedka makes it 4. And it will be evens for Wisla.
Now, even with the jump over at the top, you see that bait coming through to get Red Star the pick. What you don't see is just how much impact we could find from Jedka onto the site. 4 kills to bring it up to 17-17. And we're going back and forth, aren't we? We're not really seeing any leads being gained by either of these teams. They're always being answered back.
A 2-round lead will be enough for Wisla or Fiend to get control of this map up. They know it. Red Star watches with the AWP at the edge of the smoke, hoping they can find a pick or 2. He'll lean in aggressive. He needs to make this work. Oh, and he wins out that fight. All important. Marcos is down.
Now, Goofy's not even in a position that he can swing. Look for that trade in. And for Fiend, just work the opening man advantage, go back passive. Use both of those AWPs up on the A site itself. Now, funny how both teams have been very similar with their setups with AWPing on the CT side. We've almost never seen an AWP over a B for the CTs.
or pin. Victor with a swing. What a shot onto Sparrow. Jedkick can trade him, but Victor holds the advantage. A 4-on-2 for Goofy and PHR to try clutch out. They're going to go forward onto Dawn. See Victor crossing back out towards water. Catch Bubble at least. That's one pick back. Adjustment to the second player. Fred Star chimes in with the AWP, and now it's all on Goofy. That bomb dropped in the open. A 1v2. Seeing to the jump phase now, the CTs have the information. He'll go back to grab that bomb and try get the plant in.
They're playing it safe here from Fiend, not really overextending, not looking for that fight at all. And for Goofy, he's thinking to himself, what does he want to do? Time is low, trying to see if he can pick up any further util. Both players in from that right-hand side of Graffiti.
Flashes in. Tap on the bomb. Red Star not going to opt for the swing that allows Goofy to get a bit more breathing room. Nade on the site. And look at how close this AK is going to get here if they don't check water. Swap out to the AWP, M4 in, checks position, AK comes up, good for the first kill, AWP missing a shot, switching out to the pistol, same thing for the Tech 9, and Goofy's clutched it from a 4v2, Wisla bring it back from the brink and hold their map point on their map pick.
Oh my goodness, what a recovery that is. That round looks done. The B players do so much in that, and PHR and Goofy work together, get those picks onto the site. Goofy sets himself up for the clutch. The 1v2 comes forward. That is a massive round to win.
Giving up the 1v1s. Didn't opt to swing with the bomb plant attempt. And a tactical called in by Wisla. Fiend have got none left. And maybe for the polls, this is all about getting in the heads of Fiend. Maybe it's about just stabilizing their mental game and trying to not get out of control here. Regardless, T-side got full control of this, and they're one round away. The run boost, the tower boost for Spirit to try to take face in upon. Can't see any of the CT sides. So Fiend get a lucky break in that respective. No casualties to start this off.
That was the first time we've seen that tower, so again, we're seeing some variation in terms of the creativity of things we haven't seen when it comes into overtime so far. Fiend not getting picked off for it, and just trying to see if they can hold off, try and bring it into another OT. Wisla working incredibly hard, and even in this position out to long, there's not really much aggression, is there? Red Star's just posted quite passively.
Falls back even further towards that mid control instead. Got a teammate, I believe, who's waiting in connector in Han. Red Star just watching in case anyone makes their way in from the mid control out of the divider. No one's watching the long position, though. That could be where Wisla could strike the hardest. 50 seconds. Boost that AWP up into its position. Wait for contact, wait for the kills.
Now, the problem with long takes is they normally come in so late into the round that you've got the opportunity of focusing your attention out to bathrooms itself and then start looking out from long. Red Star's going to get baited, though.
Up out, Red Star sees his kill, gets it. PHR did find things at the start, and Goofy strikes in from long, recognizing that again they've left that long position open. Fiend fell for that during regulation. And that's going to cost them again. Kill on Bubble. 2 left in Dreamer and Victor. Dreamer falls. And despite the incredible start that Fiend had in this map, Wisla will hold their contest, hold their map pick. As Victor set to clutch, but is also set to fall. A 19-17 for Wisla Krakow to win over.